What is up, Call of Duty fans? Welcome back to Checkmate Gaming. My hold shift, and we are concluding, recapping, and wrapping up everything that happened with the CDL Seattle home series. Starting things off, I want to give just a quick mention towards the teams that went through the Challengers division in their home series kind of runs this past weekend. I'm kind of avoiding the graphics because it does take a long time to get all the custom graphics put together, and well, most of you guys don't seem to care too much about what those results were in specific. So let's start things off in APAC just to kind of mention Renegades, no surprise here. They were able to come through and take the championship once again in APAC. But interestingly enough, Pride was not allowed to participate. Something had happened with their sign-up or something like that. This is the squad that had finished second last time around. They weren't able to participate this time. Very questionable things kind of going on, but it would be Mindfreak in second, Rift Nation in third, and Throne in fourth. Going over to Europe, a little bit of a return here for Nasty Nolson and the gang as they would take the championship over Team War, a 3-1 score there. Also beating Team War in the winners finals, so it'd be Nolson's team sitting in first, War in second, Singularity getting 3-0'd by Team War in the losers finals would finish in third, and then Team BDS continuing to play consistently, they would finish fourth. Most notably out of Europe, Train Hard does not make an appearance to the top 8 this week. Very surprising indeed. And then we go to North America. It was a very interesting series to kind of watch on a side monitor while the CDL series are going on, and it would be the side of Atlanta FaZe Academy out of the losers bracket, losing to Kentucky Fire, which was Charles Stamino and crew. They would take not just the first, but also the second best of 5, 3-1, 3-0. So that would be Atlanta FaZe Academy with their first championship since the Atlanta home series, if I'm not mistaken. Kentucky Fire, the Stamino squad, would finish second. It would be 08 Celtics, Katani, Fame, and all of those guys that finished second last week in third. And then Triumph, it would finish in fourth. A very interesting day with challengers regardless, but there will not be an upcoming weekend of any Call of Duty events that are going on. No challengers event, no challengers cup, also no CDL events, so just keep that in mind for all of you guys that are out there. Let's dig in and talk about the playoff. Again, it was London versus Optic Gaming LA up first, but I won't lie, I was looking at London versus that New York series saying, okay, I'll give it to you. Okay, I see you guys, London. But I wasn't really riding all that high still onto London. That would change after this series, as I had London and Optic going 5, and it would. Gunrunner would be up first. Dylan was back on form for sure. He has had a couple of moments this game, but not really where he's been playing super consistent like he was in Black Ops 4. That changed this weekend. He's been playing lights out all the way through this entire tournament. And well, with that, it would be a back and forth affair up until the last 2 hills, where London would just control the pace, tempo, and the kill feed, and they would win the first map 251-93. Then we'd go to Search and Destroy. Arklov Peak, Optic Gaming LA, had some question marks about them yesterday and the day before when it came down to could they consistently play in Search and Destroy. Well, Weskin, he's sniping like wild. It's not going to help Optic get things going really whatsoever. It was a 6-3 on Arklov Peak for London, and I'm sitting here saying, okay, London, looking solid, looking good, but St. Petra would come up next for the domination. OGLA has been great in the dom, and this one would be tight and close right around until the 60-second mark left, where Optic Gaming got London in a bit of a P1 spawn trap, had a neutral and a bit of triple cap coming through, 170-131. Optic find a way to take the third map, so we'd go to Ramaza Hardpoint, back and forth, back and forth. Biggest lead was around 40. It would come down to a final 5th ruined hill to the bridge, which London looked like off a big play from Shawnee, they were going to take the rotation and the game. But Slasher dropped nearly 50 kills, and Optic Gaming would find a way to break through that first hard point and deny London a chance to come back into this one. 250-244. Reverse sweep, is it in the cards? Gunrunner Search and Destroy would say no. London looking way too strong in Search and Destroy this weekend. They played well all the way throughout the weekend in Search, only dropping 1 map so far to Los Angeles Guerrillas. That was a 3-6 on Piccadilly. Everything else has been nearly flawless and extremely convincing. Definitely something you like to see if you're a London fan. They'd move on to the grand finals. Optic would finish in the 4th place, 3rd place spot, if you want to call it that. Chicago, New York. I had New York possibly upsetting Chicago here just by the fact that they've shown composure. They've shown that they can come back and get themselves together when they're down to make sure they're not fully out. And it would be a good series. But we'd start off on Ramaza, where Chicago was out-rotating, out-zoning New York in the middle of the map, giving them slightly more convincing setups that they weren't contested in, and then as well, being able to set themselves up for early breaks in contests. That would be the difference maker, just a marginal couple of seconds here or there. 250-209, Chicago take map number 1. Gunrunner Search and Destroy, and Chicago's Search and Destroy woes have been mostly alleviated. They haven't dropped the Search and Destroy yet. They did have a tight round 11 versus Minnesota on Gunrunner, but they were able still to come back and win that one. The Search and Destroy would not be in much contest here, as Chicago will get a lights-out performance from Pristini and another 1v2 clutch from Scump this weekend to close the map out. He has had too many of these to really count. I would say, 3 or 4 1v2s to clutch out some of these maps. Insane stuff from Scumpy. Then we'd go to Hackney Yard Domination, and Zuma, Mac, and Attach all had great individual games, but as a whole, New York were making perfect reads through the Hackney Yard, capitalizing on mistakes and over-rotations from Chicago, and New York would be able to convincingly take the third map 177-125. Hackney Yard for our fourth map, New York got the favored start, but Zuma took one of the wonkiest routes I've ever seen, leaving from the fire side all the way through office, jumps over the wall, and cuts back around. And because of that huge pressure that New York was putting on the north side of the minimap, Chicago just walked in from the bottom. It was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, and that would be enough for Chicago to get the break, hold P5, and hold the second P2 again. 250-201 Chicago win. They'll make their way into the grand finals versus London. I didn't really know what to think. I had Optic and New York playing up against each other. We got London, Chicago, and well, Chicago came out hot, never really giving up the lead in the first hardpoint on Ramaza, which both of these teams we just saw play before. This one would turn in favor of Chicago, though, 250-202. Very solid performance all the way through from everybody. Good team effort for sure. Arklaw Peak would be the Search and Destroy. Both teams have showcased good Search and Destroy so far this weekend, but the big X factor is Wuskin. He's leading the CDL in total snipes now at 29, and with that, consistent value led to consistent round wins. 6-2, London take map number 2. Then we go to a Gunrunner Domination. Go back and rewatch this domination if you want to see good quality, high efficient domination being played, because there was at no point a moment where either team was convincingly in the lead, really until about the end. Again, very back and forth, both teams making exactly the correct decisions to make sure that they were rotating along the same path of where they had opportunity given to them. Good OE hits, good flips, everything all the way through was very well read. It would come down to the last couple of moments, though, where London would need to get a 2-cap plus a neutral to come back against Chicago late in the series. They would get that, nearly find a full capture, but a bit of indecision never fully led to the triple cap that they needed, and with that, Envoy able to grab the A flag right at the end, 155-154, just in the nick of time from avoiding a draw. Hackney Yard would be our fourth map in Chicago. Again, their setups on hardpoint this weekend have been extremely good. They were flawless up until this point. They would stay flawless in the hardpoint. Number of uncontested hardpoints that London could barely even look at, let alone try to contest, and that would be too much for them to ever find a way to battle against a map like Hackney Yard. 250-160, Chicago, your home series champions in Seattle, and a big boost to what they now have in the point standings, which is where I want to take our attention to next. Our overall look as far as who is doing well and what this weekend means for all of these squads point-wise. Remember, in Group A, this was a massive weekend for all 4 teams. So, taking a look at our standings, Chicago will now be in the number 1 spot at 180 points. The Atlanta FaZe in second at 170. Dallas at 150. Minnesota at 4th in 120. But then let's take a look at number 5. Florida at 100. But London, they're able to get up to 80. Optic to 70. And past that, 60 points for both Paris and New York, 40 points for Toronto and Seattle, and just a 10-point bump for Los Angeles. But a big weekend there for Optic and London specifically, as they both make it into the playoffs. The grand finals for London is great for them. Now all of a sudden, Minnesota and Florida in a little bit of trouble. One more bad weekend where they're at the same event as London and Optic, and they have good weekends, and they very well could slip out of the 4th or 5th position. So a big jump for the London side and the Optic Game in Los Angeles teams this weekend. Very good things for them in the standings, and with that, it comes to a conclusion here. I'm going to break down a couple more things throughout the week for you guys, as we do have a kind of extended period before we have any kind of Call of Duty action coming forward. Again, no Challengers Cup this upcoming weekend, so I'll be doing a little bit of an expose, if you will, on the Seattle Surge to see what's exactly exactly might be going on with them and what they could potentially do to break out of this funk. It's kind of the similar thing to Los Angeles Guerrillas. Have we seen enough improvement for these guys for them to maybe get out of the bottom 2 at any point this year? Signs are kind of pointing to no, but who knows 100%? We'll find out. We'll explore it. And until the next video, hope you guys all keep holding it down. So long.